Hey there, we heard you're running for office this year.
It's a perfect cold, cloudy day, and we thought we would offer you some 5 tips on running for office.
I'm Shelby Davis, your state vice president.
And I'm Andy Montgomery, also your state vice president.
Tip number 1, always read the guidelines so that when you're in the interview room, you know exactly what they're talking about when they ask you questions and you don't end up looking silly.
Tip number 2, always look your best. It's important to remember that first impressions make a difference.
What are you wearing? We're going for a jog. Why do you have cowboy boots? What's with these pink jeans and this hoodie? That's not what you wear to run. Tip number 3, practice makes perfect. So the more you practice your interview and your different questions, the better your interview is gonna get. Woo, I'm ready for my 10K tomorrow.
Well, how much have you ran this morning?
A lap.
Let's see you run a good portion of this track.
Like 3 laps?
That's probably a decent amount.
Okay.
Tip number 4, be yourself.
Hey Andy, look what I can do.
Wow, I can do that too.
Just like Andy wasn't able to do that headstand where I was, you're gonna see those differences whenever you guys are interviewing. Maybe you'll see someone who's been really, really great in the LDE spectrum, but don't let that fact scare you because maybe you've had an awesome and unique SAE.
Above all, be uniquely you.
Why have we been running around and doing yoga poses all day?
Why does the sun rise in the east and set in the west?
Well, why is the sky blue?
Wait, why are we running for office?
It's funny you ask that, Andy, because that's actually our tip number 5, know your why.
Finding your why allows you to cultivate your passion in the interview room and display that servant heart that you want to display for the upcoming year.
So we've had a lot of fun today running around on the track and acting kind of goofy, but office is actually a really big responsibility and it's important to think about. Remember whenever you're running to office to keep our 5 tips in mind. Number 1, read those guidelines so you know exactly what you're getting into and don't get caught off guard whenever you have a big responsibility that comes up.
And tip number 2, look your best. It's important when you step in that interview to remember that first impressions matter.
Tip number 3, practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to ask your parents or your friends to ask you random questions that you think might come up in the interview room.
Tip number 4, be yourself. It's important to allow your strengths to shine so that you can cultivate yourself into a better person.
And finally, that tip number 5, know your why. It'll make it so much easier for you to answer those questions when you know why you want to do this. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We hope that we put you on the right track for running for office.